remains of a banister on the other. A skeletal kid in his late teens drank spaghetti from a can. An old man poked around inside a broken transistor radio. Others just sat there. This crew gave me a hard look, but didn't say anything. More sheets hung from door frames all along the poorly lit second-floor hallway, marking a series of dormitories that I imagined residents graduated to after time served downstairs. I heard rustling and dragging feet and snoring and an occasional voice. The curtains did little to lock in the stench of sleeping men who drank and smoked far more often than they bathed. The fourth floor was a loosely converted attic with the rafters and insulation still exposed. A plywood door with a hook for a handle stood between sagging columns of cardboard boxes. No light here, save what filtered up from the floor below. I stepped forward, gave the door a few gentle taps. Nobody stirred. I knocked harder, then grabbed the hook and pushed. The door swung open. There wasn't any lock, just a chain and plate on the inside. Bill wasn't there. I switched on the bulb hanging from the ceiling, then reached back and pulled the door shut. The room stunk like bleach and stale cigarettes. To the left was a thin mattress lying on a built-in bed frame. No bedding, no pillow. To the right, a small sink with dark yellow stains running up from the drain. Faded synthetic carpeting covered what little floor there was. I guessed the bed and the sink and the door made this the luxury penthouse suite. Standing with a knee on the edge of the bed and one foot on the floor, I could palm both walls. I went over to a small window and opened it, then stood gulping air and taking in the view. A half-dozen tiny yards and the backs of other brownstones. No fire escape. Not even a tree branch to grab onto. And no trace of Bill. I told myself he'd show up any minute. Nothing to worry about. Maybe the bleach was a good sign. Maybe he'd been cleaning to keep the cravings at bay. He must have stepped outside for a smoke with the guys. Somehow I'd missed him on my way in. This was probably a 12-step thing. He'd called me here to apologize for his many sins. Bill wouldn't know how else to summon me. He wouldn't know how to be Bill without his little sister dragging him off a ledge. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. I heard fighting coming from the floor below. Neither voice was Bill's. I wondered if the bleach fumes were poisoning me. Just for something to do, I lifted the mattress and looked underneath. There was dust, grime, a Canadian penny, and a sketch pad. A black, soft-covered pocket sketch pad with the seams fraying through the spine. I knew then that something was very wrong. There were only 2 things my brother couldn't do without. 2 things he needed to make it through the day. Heroin and a little black book. The first he knew how to get at a moment's notice. The second he never let out of his sight. Chapter 2. Since we were little, since before Child Services split us up, Bill had a gift. Making 3-dimensional objects appear on a flat surface came naturally to him. So naturally, he took it for granted. Couldn't understand why everyone didn't draw as well as he did. I still have the first sketch he sent me from reform school. A pen and ink rendering of a porcupine some kids had trapped in a garbage can behind the cafeteria. I hung it on the wall in my bedroom. The Davidsons, my new adoptive parents, said he must have traced it out of a book, but I knew they were wrong. He'd sat up late in his bunk with a flashlight and drawn it from memory, same as when we shared a room. It was a teacher at Stony Brook Academy who first convinced Bill to keep a journal in pictures. She thought it might help him open up. Not that Bill was shy. He'd just stopped talking. Total round-the-clock silence. It lasted long enough to scare a few counselors, but not long enough to land him in a psych ward.